So, beware, cool. Readers beware, and count the cost, because you might be more entitled than you think you are. There is not one person other than God himself in the form of Jesus who can fulfill all the varied needs of a human being. You need friends. You need buddies. Isn't it funny? David's prayers, you would get so criticized if you prayed like that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? If we heard people praying like that, we'd be like, hey, buddy, you're not allowed to say you want people to die. You can't wish death on anyone, But David is like, hey, if you don't mind, God, I'd like you to kill the bad guys. And I'd like you to give all the money to the good.
Welcome to the Collective Talk Podcast Season 5, where we share reflections on prayer, family, and ministry. On today's episode, we'll be talking all about how to manage your thoughts. And we have a special guest, well, actually two special guests on the show today. My sister, Tracy Wilde-Pace, who's going to be co-hosting with me today, and my cousin, Judah Smith, who maybe some of you don't know that we're cousins, but he is here as a guest today, and he's an author, an incredible communicator and speaker. Can you help me welcome Judah Smith to the show? Okay, for those watching today, I am so excited to have my cousin. I don't know if they know you're our cousin, Judah Smith, on the show today, and I'm so excited. Tracy is co-hosting.
Like our closest cousin.
Yeah.
I mean,
your favorite cousin, I think, is what you meant to say.
Yeah.
And I would say that when you put us three together, that's when the magic happens, isn't it?
Okay, Judah. So I'm so excited for those that don't know you. I'm sure everybody knows Judah Smith, but for those that don't, can you tell a little bit about your background and how you came to faith? And
well, I think it was you that led me to the Lord, Rachelle.
I know.
Back in, it probably was.
Who's older?
We probably.
I am.
Oh,
aren't I? February.
Yeah, so, February, and then you're October. Okay.
Yeah. Gosh, that's so funny. I mean, we all grew up together, and I don't remember when your parents moved to Boise, but I think I was like 3 or 4 years old.
No, because I was 2. Oh, yeah, maybe, because I was 2.
Yeah. Chris remembers a little bit of it, because I think he was like 6 or 7, right?
Yeah.
Those were sad days, but for those just tuning in here, we spent vacations together at any chance we could, and usually it was our family. I don't want to be, particular here, but usually it was our family sacrificing to drive to Boise. Not a big deal. Couldn't get you guys to pack up and come over to save our lives. But that is beside the point, okay? Every time you guys said you were coming, it never happened. But I'm fine. I don't need any therapy. But somewhere in there, I met the Lord. Hi guys, I got saved if you remember the story. It was a call for adultery.
It's the best story.
It was a call for adultery in Portland, Oregon.
At Bible Temple.
And back then they had people like come to the altar who were cheating on their spouse. That's quite an ask.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's
so
really...
come forward if you're literally cheating on your spouse. Like,
wow.
I mean, by the way, kudos to anyone.
Yeah.
But I that's when I felt the tug of God on my heart. And I'm like 5, 6 years old. And I say to my mom, I got to go to the altar. And she's like, not now, sweetie. This is not the time. And the story goes, she walks me down to the altar. And the whole time she's pointing at me like, it's not me, it's him.
Your poor
and everyone's
mom.
like, I don't think so. You've been cheating on Wendell. That's my dad. We got to the altar and I gave my heart to the Lord. And then I got baptized with my wife on the same night, not knowing. Obviously, both Chelsea and I
old were you guys?
12, I think.
No way.
Maybe 13. And my dad baptized us together. That's a cool story.
And where did you feel the call to ministry?
There's only one place.
Yeah.
And it's the home of the Broncos. Boise State.
Boise State.
Yeah, Boise State Broncos. It was in Boise.
Yes.
I was like 11 years old. And actually, Uncle Kenny was there because after the service, I was trying to do that weird thing that your kids do sometimes. We're like, hey, Dad. It's like, why are you saying hi to me? We live together. And I'm like, hey, Dad. And he's like, hey, see you at the restaurant. I'm pretty sure we were going to Old Country Kitchen or something. The OCC. And he's like, see you at the at lunch, buddy. And I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, what is it? And to be honest, you guys probably don't remember this. We got down on our knees, and Uncle Kenny too. My dad, me and Uncle Kenny, we got on our knees to like dedicate my life to Jesus. And ever since then, life's been really difficult. But I'll do anything for Jesus.
Wait, how old were you, Judah? You were.
I was 11.
You were because your dad had come. It was like during like the Dragon Slayer. He was like doing
we were doing Dragon Slayer.
It was our downtown campus, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
Oh my god! So you will always be connected.
Always, and I remember that building probably more than you think I do because it's just kind of
ingrained,
emblazoned, as it were.
So special. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Well,
I love you guys. This is fun. Thank you for having me.
We're gonna do some rapid fire, like since we're family questions, and then we're gonna get into it and get into your new book, which I'm so excited to talk about. Your Bad Thoughts book. But here's some family rapid questions.
We haven't read these questions to him, so he's hearing them for the first time.
Yeah.
So,
truth be told.
Yes.
Yeah. So Trace, do you want to start? You have the honor to start.
Okay. Who in the family is the funniest?
Well, after me, I would say you.
I know. I would say you.
Oh my god.
No,
it would be. You can say yourself.
People don't really realize that Trace and I were meant to entertain our families. It was literally the way we were created. True. And when Trace and I are together, there is a whole part of sassiness that comes out. Literally, Chelsea would say early on in our marriage, like, hey, are you good? Like, the Wildes come around and it's like, you are bizarre. And I'm like, I fall into my role. I remember as a young kid, like having Uncle Kenny and Aunt Connie telling them about my old homeschool tutor, who was a really funny lady. And I would reenact her and Uncle Kenny and Aunt Connie would die. Yes. That's when I learned this is what I love to do.
Yeah.
Aww.
And then ministry has gotten in the way, but here we are.
You're the funniest. The correct answer is you. But thank you. I'll take second place. I'll take second place.
Therein lies the beautiful.
Yeah, you two definitely are the funniest. Now,
most regal, Shell.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
thank
100%.
you.
100%. Not even a quote. Close.
Who prays the loudest in our family?
Who prays the loudest?
In our extended family.
Our extended
Is
family?
Pastor Jude Fuquay in our extended family?
No.
I mean, I'm so loud, and I'll be honest, I didn't know how loud I was until I had kids.
Yeah.
And I'm so overwhelmed with how loud Zion Hughes Smith is, who happens to be in the studio today, 21 years old.
Hey.
And I am like, oh my God. So I know I'm loud. Like, I'm at a loud place where I think people start to question their connection to me, their relationship with me. So I have to own that.
We normally hear you before we see you. You know, some people you can smell them because they love the cologne or perfume. We can hear you.
Definitely.
I'm sorry.
And it's a blessing.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, who is most likely to cry during a worship song? They think of the whole. It can be cousins or aunts and uncles.
I mean, oh man.
Who's the most tender?
I mean, Uncle Kenny's crying every time.
I was gonna say it's probably Dad.
I can't remember the last time I was speaking and Uncle Kenny wasn't crying at some point, and it's one of my favorite things.
Because he loves you so much.
Oh, well, and I love him, and I think I remind him of Uncle Wendell.
Yes.
Why did Uncle Wendell?
You mean your dad?
AKA your dad.
What is going on around here? Sorry. This is supposed to be rapid fire.
Yeah. So another question is, who is most likely to be late all the time?
Chris Wilde.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, we all know this.
And by late,
that's still not even though.
We mean a couple of days late.
And it's always like on my way, 10 minutes out, at about 30 to 40, maybe an hour and a half.
And I'm late, just for the record, chronically, but this is a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Pastor Chris Wilde.
Who would win a family trivia night?
You or Chelsea. Well, Chris. No, Chris and Chelsea.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have crazy amount of knowledge.
They do. They're very well read. You're very well read. Bible trivia. Chelsea and Chris are gonna. She just completed her master's degree, which
awesome.
It's obviously a we thing. We did, and we're excited about that. So, yeah. Chelsea.
Okay, so who's the biggest storyteller? Would you say besides yourself?
The biggest storyteller, Shane Grove. Shane loves to tell a good story.
Yeah, that's so true.
I mean, loves to tell a good story, and I like his stories. I mean, Uncle Kenny's got great stories.
Yeah. Okay. Who would be the most dramatic if they lost their phone for a day?
Oh, the most dramatic if they lost their phone.
Or maybe we could just say, who would be the most dramatic?
Well, one time I thought I broke my back. We were kids in Boise because it was icy out and I fell. And then they ran in and told my mom I broke my back. And Tracy came out and said, your mom said to get up because you didn't break your back. And suddenly I was healed. So, I could be I could tend to be a little dramatic.
Oh my gosh.
I'll never
forget
like
that.
You guys made me go ask Aunt Jenny.
I actually think it was you,
It was, I think it was, we both went in.
All
Yeah,
said
it was.
He's
Rachelle
fine.
believed me.
Yes, I did. I was the only one that believed you. And I ran in to talk to your mom. And then your mom devastated me. She's like, oh, he's fine.
No, she said, her words were, tell him to get out of the street.
Yes.
That's what she said. And
that's right,
so
'cause
we
I was
came back sheepishly like, sorry you broke your back, but your mom said to get out of the street.
Man, how did she know
that? Was probably
that,
30 years ago. And that's one of my strongest childhood memories.
Well, because you thought I really
It is our strongest memory.
I'm so sorry.
Because I literally was traumatized. I seriously thought you broke
She's
your back.
compassionate.
I think I did too. I think I really thought it really hurt.
Yes.
And then,
So
my
I
gosh,
should
this is
be,
great.
if there was a rapid fire question, I should be the most compassionate one in the family, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
There is a deep empathy that you can channel that I vividly remember no one else extended. I want to say that. It's true.
Oh, well, I'm so excited to dive right in.
Yes.
So you just recently wrote a book, Bad Thoughts book. Can you tell us what inspired you to start that book and what is a little background about that?
Yeah. I mean, guys, come on. Let's talk. When you realize that your therapist could write a book and you could put your name on it with him, you jump at the opportunity. All right, let's just say that. All right, genius.
Yeah.
But I really mean that only to say, here's what happened. I realized through our process together, Les Parrott and I, he had helped me in a very strategic way with basically these reframing or rewiring your brain, which we know is possible. And I realized let's put this in a book. And ultimately, my premise and my passion was, I think it would be refreshing if a preacher kind of aired some of his laundry. I think there's appropriateness and decorum and discretion, but not all of it. But I think that would be refreshing, and perhaps it would resonate with people. So Les wrote the book so easily. He's incredible. He's such a brilliant man.
Yeah.
Les and Leslie Parrott, I love him. And and it's all based on research. Basically, the 5 most toxic thoughts people are thinking right now, and how to replace them with thoughts that are anchored in the life and ministry of Jesus. And honestly, it's a short book, it's an easy read, and it makes you feel smart. And that's another big part of all the books I write. I want you to be done with the book and go, I read a whole book, and feel really good about yourself. And we recorded an audio version where Les and I essentially spar and fight, and it's adorable.
Oh, that's so cool.
Because
it's very conversational, the book is.
Yeah.
So the Audible would be really fascinating.
I think the Audible is the best.
Yeah.
I encourage people to do that. And then you can do it on a commute or whatever.
Yeah. Was there a
It's
chapter in the book that almost felt too vulnerable to share?
I mean, I think if I'm fair, the chapter that ends on entitlement.
Yeah.
By the way, there's tests at the end of these chapters. So, beware, cool. Readers beware, and count the cost because you might be more entitled than you think you are. And I think that was really disappointing. And then I knew going in that my biggest disease or my biggest problem, my biggest hang up is the disease to please. My inability to say no. And instead of saying no, I say a quick yes, which is basically a drawn out maybe and ends up kind of collapsing and falling apart into so sorry. Yeah. And I've disappointed so many people because I didn't have the courage and the love and care enough for them to say, I just can't do that. That's a no, And Tracy and I worked together for years and got to build a lot in LA together. And she knows that. I mean, I've complicated our org. I've complicated our, staff that I lead by saying yes to people that I should have said no to. Yeah. So
what do
that's
you
still
think
become a
the
challenge.
root of that is? Because I think a lot of pastors feel this, Judah.
For sure.
You're just the first to put it in a book and really help pastors, leaders, humans, help us all. But what do you think is at the root of that people pleasing? And obviously we're all pastors' kids that then went into ministry. Do you feel like some of that played into it? Or where do you think it comes from for you?
I definitely think there's a little, this is not very theological or philosophical. It's very experiential, but I'll say it. I think there's a thing that happens in people's countenance when the proverbial lights come on and they light up. And I have to say, I got into this because I love that. When you can see someone go, you see me, I matter, you'll help me. Oh, and the lights come on like, there's hope. Like maybe my marriage will be saved. Maybe I'm not alone. Maybe I can overcome this. Maybe my addiction isn't the end of me. And I love that moment when it's like, yes, God can. Let's do it. We can do it. And they go, okay. And you're like, yeah. And I think in a small way, I hate seeing the opposite of that, which is like, sorry, man, I can't. It's like,
oh, yeah.
And in our line of work too, like, can I just say, there's this fine line of like, if people perceive any levels of success, and if you say no to them and you've had success, then you're too good for them.
Yeah.
And you're
So
a
true.
big deal.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And that hurts me to my core because to me, it's the antithesis of what we signed up for in terms of we are all broken, hurting, nightmare kind of people who all love each other. And I the last thing I want is for people to feel like I've moved past them or beyond them. So the no seems to hit all the buttons and the yes seems to like release all the endorphins and the dopamine I'm looking for. So on a real human level, I feel that. And then ultimately I think mission and mandate get a little mixed up. Mission would be the general idea that we're all to tell people that Jesus loves. The mandate is the specific aspect of the mission that you're called to. And I think sometimes I get those convoluted and in the name of the grand, big mission of all, it's yes, yes, yes to everybody.
Wow,
But mandate says, sometimes a quick yes. A quick no is a lot better than a drawn out no.
So
and
good.
that's something I'm trying to implement.
Well, and
It's
you've
so good.
always we joke about that you're the entertainer of our family, but it's also because you truly do love people.
Yes.
You've always been
Thank you.
like one who you love people, you're generous with your time and you're just who you are. So the shadow side of that can be
Yep.
because like what you just articulated it so brilliantly. It's like the shadow side, like we all have to our personalities and you're a helper, you want to help people. But the shadow side, if we're not careful, is that it then becomes detrimental to you, your family, everybody else. And we need to be better.
true.
I love that you're talking about this because we all need to be better at recognizing the shadow side
That's it.
and going, it's okay to not bat 1,000
Yes.
with every single person. And so I admire that, Judah, because I've watched you go through the journey and having to learn this. And so thank you for talking about it.
That
I think
means a
more
lot.
people need to.
Yeah.
I think if we read the text, we would think that Jesus doesn't like Greek people, because
Right.
it's like
So true.
it's like the one people group. He was just
Yeah.
like, because the scripture says the Greeks kind of
Yeah.
came to see him, and he's like, nah, tell him no. And it's like, oh, God doesn't want to go to a big fat Greek wedding. That's crazy. I thought he loved Greek people. I thought part of the scripture was in Greek. I don't know, but it's got nothing to do. Again, he's like, I have a mission and I've got to go to the cross. And my no now is that I can say yes to all of Greece and all the Greek people. And so I do think like, man, if Jesus can say no and be willing to be misunderstood, who do I think I am?
Yes,
Like this
really
is bizarre.
good.
Like I gotta own that. So I'm so far from doing that right and doing that well, but I do want to gain on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so powerful.
Oh,
I love
that's
this
really good.
conversation.
I know.
So good. I need to be taking notes right now.
I'm gonna. I need to
my
rewatch the
word.
podcast.
I do too.
Here we go.
I wanted
So
to
good.
also ask you, Judah, is in writing this book, did it change the way that you talk to yourself in writing this book? What would you say to that question?
Yeah, I think so. I think there is a self-talk that all of us have. It's funny, we talk about thought life.
Yeah.
But honestly, I would much rather reframe it as your self-talk life. Your thoughts are how you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that brings into a lot more vibrance. It brings into a lot more kind of dynamo to the experience. Like thought life is kind of just this monotone, but self-talk is this voice inside of you that can affect you in ways none of us dreamed possible. And so with Les, he ends up, say, hey, let's name your inner voice. What does it sound like? Where are its sources? What's its kind of basis? I'll tell you a funny story. Remember when we were as a family, the Smiths and the Wild are together, and we're driving somewhere, probably from Nampa to like back to Boise, and we miss an exit, and all of a sudden Chris goes, "Oh my God, we're going to Gooding," you know? And I want to be sensitive. He said he might have said, "Oh my gosh," but I think he said, "Oh my God," and it kind of freaked us out because back then I was like, "You're going to hell," but he's like, "Oh my God, we're going to Gooding," and it is so ingrained because we missed our exit.
Yeah.
And back then, as kids, you don't have the understanding that like you get up on the next exit.
There's
buddy,
another one.
Back, not a problem.
Yeah.
But guilt is a lot like that moment where you think you missed your exit.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is guilt tells you a story. Guilt tells you that you're wrong.
Yeah.
Grace says you did something wrong.
Yeah.
So good.
Guilt says you missed the moment. Grace says, man, just take the next one. God's grace is sufficient. And so guilt becomes this self-talk that you're bad, you're wrong. Sure, we're all bad, but oftentimes we absorb this thought. And here's one that's changed my life. You are what you do. Yeah. No, you're not. Now, that stinks when you're super successful and you want to be what you do.
Yeah.
So
But here's the good news. When you do something dumb and stupid, and we all do, if you're not what you do, well, then there's hope and there's grace.
So
but a
good.
lot of self-talk today is defeatism. It's guilt-ridden, and it tells us, I'm bad. I missed the exit. I'm an exit misser. That's what I am. But grace says, and the good news and the hope of Jesus is like, bro, take the next exit, turn around. And here's the fun part about grace. You get to also go, anybody else missed a few exits in their life?
Yeah.
Me too. All right, all the exit missers, let's get coffee. Let's hang out.
Good. I love that. It's beautiful
so
analogy.
good.
I love
Yeah.
it. It's so cool.
Well, I wanted to relate it to our childhood.
That was good.
I do
That was
remember
really
that.
good. Oh, yeah, that's also
my
a core
God,
memory.
we're going to Gooding.
Your
Core
dad was
memory.
driving.
Oh, and Uncle Kenny, I think because they died laughing, remember?
Yes.
They thought that was the
funniest.
funniest.
Wait, on that same trip,
Yep.
your mom I love your mom. She's like my favorite person in the
Aunt
whole
Jeannie.
world.
We love you, Aunt Jeannie.
But I think
Love
that
you, Mom.
same trip, she made me like massage her
no,
neck.
that was a different
Was
one.
that a different
That
one?
was on all.
Oh wait, it's
Your
when
mom-
we went to Chris.
Your mom owes her money.
championship Game.
We were on our way to Pocatello, Idaho.
You guys.
I had to sit
remember this.
on a non-seat. I
Yeah.
sat. It was like we had a van that had
Different
like
days here,
buckets,
folks.
Yeah,
bucket
different
seats.
days.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
so there wasn't enough seats for all of us in the van or something like that. And
Oh,
of
we
course,
were on
I'm
the
the youngest.
floor. Yeah.
yeah. So I was sitting on the floor. It was fine, no big deal. But your mom just said, "Rochelle, if you massage my
Well, I
neck,"
think
she had us
I think
tense,
she
I'll
asked
pay you."
everybody. No, she asked. Yes.
You were good at it.
No, I know, but I think everybody said no, declined, and I was the only one that
Soft
said
heart.
yes.
Soft
yes,
heart
see,
alert.
compassionate, you
I mean,
guys.
just what it is.
I know.
We all knew. I remember. I'm gonna take this story further. I remember us all going, "No, Mom," and Shell going, "I'll do it." That's what I hear. And we're all like, "Shell will do it. She'll feel guilty enough to do it." And then my mom promised her money. No chance you're
Rochelle
getting paid.
massaged her
No
neck
chance.
for hours.
We drove from Idaho
to
to Alabama. She didn't stop till we got to Georgia. This is
was
crazy.
My
I'm
hands,
yelling.
you guys.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was the longest. They were
Because
so
Rochelle's
done.
pure. And she can't say no either.
In my
People pleaser.
mind-
She
in my-
needed that word
okay,
today.
So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh God, she's gonna tell me.
She's
to
gonna say,
stop,
"I'm
right
good."
anytime now. No, you guys are all sleeping. I am. Still
I wasn't.
going. By
I
the time
couldn't
you
feel
slept
my
for
bottom.
hours.
I was sitting on the ground. I was numb.
Shell's glasses have run down to here. Well, she's like, "Hey, G."
Wait,
remember?
I'm offended. I'm offended, Judah. I didn't have glasses at that time. Wait. I have to tell our audience.
Shell's glasses were, by the way, my inspiration. But by the way, the next day, you were telling your mom how much your hands hurt. And Aunt Connie was literally trying to massage your hands because they were in pain.
Oh my gosh.
Shell, it was because I remember thinking,
gosh,
I would
I
never do
know,
that.
you guys. Well, back in the day,
Sorry.
going back to the glasses, I used to wear those. You guys, I didn't look cute wearing glasses. It just
I disagree.
Judah.
No,
I had
I
four eyes. Everybody's glasses, they weren't thick. It looked like I was wearing bottle cap glasses. It was so bad.
It
but
was
I wasn't wearing
so
glasses
endearing.
at that time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought you were wearing glasses when you were massaging my mom's neck.
Oh my gosh. Well, that would make the story more epic, Judah.
Oh my gosh.
Guys.
But that was, to bring it back,
Yes.
a different trip that we took.
Yes.
But still a core memory.
A core memory. Guys, you're starting to get the picture
Yes.
here. We are the core memory club.
Okay, so when it comes to this self-talk, and let's get it back, or should we? We could just keep telling stories. Whatever. Let's give the people what they want. If I've learned anything from you, that's what I've learned. Yeah. Give the people what they want. What do you think Christians? Let's talk. A lot of our audience, would say they believe in Jesus. They're followers of Jesus. What would you say is probably the most misunderstood aspect to mental, emotional thought struggles? Like, has the church hurt in this area? Like, what do you think today the Christians maybe have misunderstood when it comes to this topic?
That faith is a form of faking it. And we've never said it like that, and we never intended like that. But there are so many different ways we communicate the gospel and the story of Jesus. And ultimately, every successive generation, I think, learns mostly by watching. And by what they see and the habits and the lifestyle and the approach is absorbed in the soul, really, and non-verbal. And we start to go, okay, it's showing up on the proverbial Sunday or whatever day it is and being like, God's good, God's faithful. By the way, nothing inherently wrong with that. And sometimes you got to tell yourself so you believe it. Like, listen, I'm down with everybody on the power of your words and your confession. Like, it's all wonderful. But there is well and truly a whole aspect of God that is completely aware of our pain, completely aware of our problems, our weaknesses, our fears, our insecurities, our shortcomings. And I think one of the things we still have to develop together collectively as a community, this is a corporate practice, is allowing acceptance with each other. And maybe it's saying that the shadow part of us and being more comfortable with discretion and decorum, of course, but more comfortable with discussing and processing our shadows. Yeah. Ultimately, it's another way of saying let's be more vulnerable and more honest. But I think our story of all stories on earth is come on, come as you are. And like we're all in this together and we're working out together. And so I think it's the opposite of the country club. It looks a little bit more like an urgent care, or something. And we're all kind of there going, man, we're in this together. Yeah. And I see you see me, and let's process. So there's a lot more to say about that, but that's kind of my initial.
And God's not intimidated by the truth. Like we're faith people. We grew up in a faith atmosphere, right? To speak. But we can also be really honest and vulnerable before God and be like, I'm struggling. Not maybe for us growing up, maybe we didn't hear that as much. Yep. Maybe we did. But you know what I mean? I feel like that's something I've experienced with people in church today, Christians today. It's like, it's okay to say, this is hard. That's not a lack of faith. That's the reality to go, God, I desperately need you. I mean, read David. David's the most honest person in the Bible. That's it. I mean, half of Psalms is lamenting. Like, we don't lament enough, as Christians. We package it and go, God, you're going to get me through. And yes, he is. And that's like to your point. Yep. That's okay. Yeah. But there's going to be times I think all of us have gone through difficulties in our stories.
And can I say, I think, again, it's the practice of our faith that is most transferred generationally, meaning the next generation that's watching and learning is learning more by our practice than our preaching. Yeah. And of course, that was true all the way back in the Jewish tradition and the children of Israel. The Torah was passed on verbally. So we're communicating something. And I just want to say around prayer, I think prayer is a really interesting practice, right? Ancients, all the mystics call it lifting mind and heart to God. How do you do that? Well, I think traditionally, or in our modern age, we treat prayer a lot like a dignitary that we are approaching. So if you got invited to meet a dignitary, you would kind of put on your best, you would have your talking points, and you would have, but that's not at all what prayer was introduced to us as. Jesus is praying, and all the disciples are like watching him, and he's doing it for a long time, and they didn't pray for a long time. And even the people that prayed back then were Pharisees and Sadducees, and they did it with pomp and circumstance, and it was pretty much annoying. So they're watching Jesus, and he's like doing this like really passionate thing for so long. So he gets on and they're like, teach us to do that because that's so compelling. And he's like, great, right out the gate, first thing, call God Dad. Yeah. And it's like this introduction into this incredibly candid, transparent, So I'll take it a step further. I think prayer is much more of, are you angry? Are you greedy?
Yeah.
Are you lustful?
Wow.
Are you lonely? Lift that to God. Lift that
So
to God.
good, yes.
And you don't got to put any kind of like talking points, but without knowing it. And listen, I've done it too. Like I've been invited to events and things, like you guys, your dad and dignitaries and politics and you have to submit a written prayer,
right.
So like, no, I totally get it. But sometimes we put so much in our public prayers without knowing it. We're telling the next generation, hey, your prayers better be put together and packaged really well, or perhaps God won't hear you, as opposed to David's prayers, which isn't it funny? David's prayers, you would get so criticized if you prayed like that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we heard people praying like that, we'd be like, hey, buddy, you're not allowed to say you want people to die.
Right.
You can't wish death on anyone, But David is like, hey, if you don't mind, God, I'd like you to kill the bad guys, and I'd like you to give all the money to the good guys. And you're just like, bro, this is crazy. So I do in my own life. I think people are very prayerful. I think there's people out there wondering, like, I just want to learn to pray. You know how to pray.
Yeah.
Listen to how you talk to some of your closest friends. Take that to God. Exactly how you feel it. Take your greed to God. Take your anger to God. Take your lust to God. And before you know it, you might become a very prayerful person.
That's exactly. So I remember Dad. That's so powerful. I remember Dad saying, I think it was during college or when he was in college with your dad at NNC back in the day. But he was saying that I think there was something that was going on in his life. And he just said, I'm a man of prayer. I grew up praying. My dad prayed all the time. He said, I was just angry at God. And there was something that happened. And I remember him telling this story when he was preaching. And he says, I just went outside and I started,
to the park and in you.
Yeah.
And in C when our dads were there.
Yeah.
And went out there and just yelled at God.
Yelled at God like, God, why are you not hearing me? And isn't that like David in the Bible?
Like, there's got to be something more.
Right.
Yeah.
He was so desperate. Like, God, it kind of like David, he says, why are you downcast on my soul? But David, he was crying out to God. And I think that there's times like, I just think so many people feel like they have to be put together.
Yep.
And my dad, I remember him telling us that story, and it just broke something in my dad when he began to just giving everything to God, like, through that difficult time that he was going through. And I think it broke something in my dad.
Yeah.
Because he was being vulnerable and real with God. It wasn't he wasn't.
Because our dads grew up with great tradition, religious tradition, faith tradition, loved God, but they wanted a more authentic, like that kind of relationship.
Yeah, so I think that's so important.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wanted to ask you this other question, Judah, is what do you think renewing your mind, what does that look like to you? Or maybe in your book, what do you talk about with renewing your mind?
I mean, obviously get into kind of what I think the original text means and the definition of the word, but I think simply put, it's the replacing of thoughts.
Yeah.
It's taking your average thoughts and replacing them with God's thoughts.
Yeah.
And that starts with just saying you have average thoughts. It starts with just saying you have bad thoughts.
Yeah.
And questioning your thoughts, questioning your self-talk, asking yourself, is it working? Asking yourself, is this good? And then replace it. I think it was recently I was doing a recording for the Glorify app. Shout out to the Glorify app. And was asked to kind of give some handles to a form of replacing your thoughts and renewing your mind. And I think it could start with, your day.
Yeah.
And I think some people start their day by default and welcome to my life, right? In other words, if you don't start your day, something's going to start your day, right? And the day can oftentimes start with, oh, shoot, dang it.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. Bummer. And before you know it, you're like 17 of those comments in.
Wow.
And you haven't expressed 1 ounce of gratitude, for instance, right? And so, yeah, I just think of that simple practice of, man, we're so blessed. Oh, I love my life. I'm so grateful to be alive.
Yeah.
Man, this is going to be a full day. Yeah. At least I got something to do, I mean, there's just so many ways I hate to travel. You guys know that. Yeah. And recently I had to I had to fly to some remote island, and I was there for 12 hours and turn around and come right back.
Gosh.
And I just kept telling myself at the layover, the San Fran layover. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I swear the San Francisco airport is a form of eternal torment. And I just kept telling myself, people love to travel. Some people would say this is a privilege.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe I have somewhere to go, something to do, people to serve. This is awesome. And I know it might sound silly, but it really works.
Yeah.
I just think people think renewing your mind. It sounds like this ornate, established, complicated practice of the spiritual elite, but ultimately it's just this little daily thing you do every now and again where you go, wait a minute, that thought right there, I question it. It's not working for me. I don't think, what would God say? What does God say? Okay, insert. Yeah. Man, I'm blessed.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy to be married. Yeah. I love my kids. It goes a long way.
I love
Question your thoughts. That is so good. Like I think I go through too much of my day not questioning it. We just believe what we think.
We do.
Right.
And we have to be better at questioning our thought. I love that. Every time I see renewing your mind, I'm going to think, question that thought.
And I love that you
said
really
good,
default too. I think that if you have if you don't question your thoughts, and if you have like a negative bent, or you go back, or those bad thoughts, you go back instantly to that default of bad thoughts.
The negative script.
The negative script. So I love what you were saying is gratefulness, basically, is waking up or whatever. And if you have, because I don't want to go back to that negative, bad default setting in my mind.
Yeah.
But I love what you said about gratefulness. I think that that's so important for believers to do that, to practice that.
We have the most to be grateful for, too. So we should be the best at this because we have the most to be thankful for. If nothing else, we have Jesus.
Forgiven, loved, accepted. An old preacher, I'm 6 months into my marriage. He goes, do you know what the opposite of immorality is, young man? And I was like, sex? I don't know. The opposite of immorality is gratitude. And I was like, what? And he said, if you're always grateful for your wife.
Wow.
Just thank God for your wife. Thank God for your spouse. And, 26 years into marriage, he was more right than I realized.
That is amazing.
Gratitude is such a powerful spaceship that can take you to a whole new world.
Wow.
It's amazing.
I love that. Your aunt, our mom, Connie.
Like, who?
Who's your my birthday buddy?
I know your birthday
buddy.
She would always tell me and us as kids that gratefulness unlocks miracles, and so I always I loved that thought. Is truly gratefulness is key, and so I love that you talk about that. So I wanted to ask you this question. So what's the weight people don't know? Because you're a public voice. So what is the weight that you carry with being a public spiritual voice?
I mean, I think if I'm really honest in this chapter of our life, and I say Chelsea and I, it's a little bit of what I ultimately feel like we're called to do, and that may not look like it used to look in our life. And so I feel really invited by God to reach people and to at least focus on and preach to people who don't know Jesus yet. Yeah. And there's like 50% of Americans right now who say, I'm never going to step foot in a church. And the only thing I can say is I'm really preoccupied with those people. And I love them. And I want them to know how free it is, how liberating it is, how wonderful the love of Jesus is. And so I think the weight that I feel there is only like, I don't want to disappoint my friends. I don't want people to think Chelsea and I have decided to walk away from really anything. It's just continuing to walk into what God's called us to. And so, I mean, I think, I talked to my buddy yesterday across the country who planted a church, and we helped him plant his church, and he loved, what church home was, and he just has a lot of questions about what we're doing now, and are you okay? And it's like, man, we all have to fulfill our ministry and what God's called us to. And so, yeah, there's a little bit of a, if I'm really honest, a little bit of a misunderstanding. But to be misunderstood is a real privilege. It actually means people are attempting to understand you.
Yeah.
And some people just don't care at all to, so the fact that people care enough to, whether it's question or criticize, is still in itself a privilege. But yeah, there's a weight. The bottom line is Chelsea and I think feel a real pull to the work of an evangelist, and I'm gonna move in that direction more. And that's, with it comes, like anything else, if you change positions on a team, everyone's like, well, you weren't happy being linebacker, or whatever. But have to trust God with that for sure.
Really well, and I had a front row view, and I learned so much, and I still learn so much from you and Chelsea with the people that God has placed in your life, which I truly believe it was God placed them. You didn't, for those of you who don't know Judah as well as we do, which as you can tell from this podcast, very intimately, Judah has not gone after or sought after any of the people that with these massive platforms that God has placed in your life. I mean, we've been with you when the DMs started rolling in, people heard you preach, and a message you preach started doing something in their spirit. I mean, we've watched this whole process, and what I've always so admired, and I learned from you, and I still try to practice this, is that you've never leveraged any of those relationships. Right. I mean, you taught me this when I was with you for those years, and we're like in the trenches of just like pastoring people, loving them right where they are, and it was crazy and chaotic. I learned you wouldn't even, I loved this. You wouldn't take pictures. You wouldn't go, hey, let's take a picture and put it on my social media. Because a lot of people would do that, right? Because, hey, how cool is it? Look at these people we're around. You never would do that. And I remember that I watched that. So I was like, oh, I wouldn't. And you told me, we had this conversation. I'd be like, Judah, what do we do? And you're like, if they ask to take a picture with them. It matters to them.
Yeah.
Like, let them post if they want to do it. But we're not going to do that unless, and those little things you taught me, I've carried that into other like atmospheres and spheres of influencing people, because you've never leveraged it. You've always looked at their humanity and loved them right where they are. And we're like, hey, God is, because I truly believe this, God has placed them in you and Chelsea's lives for a reason. And so you've done that so well, Judah. Yeah. And you've taught all of us. Yes. Like Mark and Rachelle, we've all said this. Like, you've taught us, like, if God puts it, because there are people in this world with massive platforms that have, great influence, that, God cares about their heart.
Truly.
And we want to steward that really well if God puts them for whatever reason and for however long, it could be just a short season. Right. It could be a long one, but for however long God places these people, we want to steward that really well. And so what would you say with these people that God, these influential people, we could say the names, but we don't have to, how do you, in those spaces, what do you think God has called you to do, like to help them emotionally, spiritually? Like, what do you think your role is when those people are brought into your life?
I definitely think there is a level of protect. There's a level of care, empathize. But ultimately, I think it's this kind of walk with them and just, be there. I think it's my dream, and I think it's everybody's dream. What am I saying? I think it's all of our dreams to have people that you're tethered to in life that just love you. And boy, there's a big difference between people who love you and then people who love what you do.
Yeah.
Or love what you have. And I just think everyone in life should be so blessed to have a friend who loves them for who they are.
Yeah.
Not who you want them to be, who you wish them to be, or who they used to be, but who they are. And sure, we dream about that in marriage. But we all know that there is not one person other than God himself in the form of Jesus who can fulfill all the varied needs of a human being. You need friends. You need buddies.
Yeah.
And I think it's my privilege to be a friend to people who typically have to hire friends.
Yeah.
And there is such a thing where people get to a platform where you pay people to play.
Yeah.
You pay people to hang out with you. And so Trace knows we did a lot of this together and still do in some cases, where you get to be that person who's like, bro, I'm good. I don't need anything.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
I just think you're amazing. And, yesterday a friend asked, what can I do for you? And I said, you're already doing it. What do you mean? I just love being your friend, and I love you. And, I think that's what we all dream about. And so if you invert the situation, if I was them, what would I want? And that's a fun practice.
Yeah.
It's a meaningful thing. And I'll just say to every aspiring leader, pastor, organizer, community director, social media influencer, whoever you are, there's nothing like that satisfaction and fulfillment when you serve somebody with no strings attached.
That's good.
And you gave them your best, and you don't expect anything in return.
Yeah.
There is a contentment, there is a fulfillment there, that in the dark of night, when you're falling asleep on your pillow, you're like, that felt like Jesus. And that's meaningful to me.
Yeah.
And I just invite everybody to experience that, because I think it's a lot of the reason we do what we do, because it feels special and fuzzy and warm when you feel like, I think I was like Jesus today. And man, I mean, that's a lot of the reason I do what I do. I want to feel like I'm becoming more like him, So, and to be a trusted friend that walks into the room and you soothe people and make them feel safer.
Yeah.
To be the safe guy, that's fun.
Yeah.
It's really meaningful. So I aspire to that.
Well, I think you're so
That's
good at
so
that,
good.
Judah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've always
so
said
good.
this: you can't influence what you don't first love, and I feel
Yeah.
like
Wow.
you have
Wow.
That's what I admire about you, Judah, is that you truly love people.
Yeah.
And the reason why God has allowed you to influence these people, influential people, is because you really love them.
have a heart for 'em, yeah.
I'm just thankful that example that you set. And then
Thank you.
I feel like you're a lot like your dad in that way.
Yeah.
So your dad was so generous and so loving with his love for people. You remind me so much of him. And Uncle Wendell was so inspiring, with his love. He influenced so many people, and you have that same just anointing on your life that truly loves people well. And you see it because those people are drawn to you. And so I just admire that about you.
Yeah.
But do you ever feel a responsibility when you're leading these people with massive platforms? Do you ever feel like a sense of responsibility, or no?
Yeah, I think I'll say this. I feel a sense of pain, and you and Mark and everything that God is doing miraculously at Oceans Church. I know enough to know that you know the feeling when someone that you're close to is a public figure, and their behavior is seen by more than a few people. It reflects on you.
Yeah.
And so here's this little trick, and it works every time. It just is what it is. If you don't take credit for when times are good, you don't have to take credit for when times are bad. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Only you will know whether or not you do that.
Wow.
I think a lot of people get derailed by association when someone they were, here's the word, discipling, kind of falls off the rails, and they fall off the rails. It's like, well, that's a bit of a tell. But if that's not your identity.
That's good.
And I just want to say, for the record, for every public figure out there, man, let's all count our blessings for those of us who our daily coffee trip or our daily coffee run in the morning is not followed by paparazzi. My outfits are not picked apart. My words are they're not reading my mouth. When I'm on a date with my wife.
It's crazy.
There is a level of intrusion that comes that, man, if cameras were watching me every day of my life, oh, wow, I would be the biggest disappointment. So my heart goes out to people who are followed their whole life, and undoubtedly they're going to get caught doing something silly or funny or sneaky.
I remember my first paparazzi picture I was in with someone.
Oh, no.
I don't need to say.
I do too.
was horrified
Yeah.
because I wasn't ready. I didn't know how to stand, the angles, what to wear. I was horrified. From then on, anytime I saw cameras, I would get as far out of a shot as I possibly could if I happened to be there. Because especially for a woman, imagine being like female. I mean, guys, it could probably be the same for men. I don't know. You love how you look too. You care. But like your body being like picked apart, I was horrified. That
Just
was
for
like,
anyone keeping track, I know this might sound crazy. Shout out to celebrities everywhere.
Yeah.
Friends, all of us take photos. We get ready for them.
Yes.
We pose for them. We retake them.
Yes.
Guys, I don't think you understand.
Come on.
When you see paparazzi photos, these are literally rarely planned. Some are planned. Newsflash. But like these people are so
I also
beautiful.
learned
They
that.
look good
Yes.
going to CVS or
Yes.
Walgreens. That's crazy. So
Yeah.
anyways, like let's kind of process that a little bit. It is a wild thing when you start thinking, wait, I just randomly, you gonna get photographed walking the street on a Saturday morning?
yeah.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am not prepared for that.
Yes.
and
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes. But so true.
A
So
tangent.
give some grace.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. There was a time where there was some celebrities that joined us in the tents, which I was like, oh my gosh, why are they coming to the tents? Our church was in tents here in California during
Yeah.
COVID. And so anyway.
Shout out to the Great Oceans Church.
Anyway,
the great Ocean Church.
so anyway, this celebrity couple came, and I was like, "What's going on?" And they like snuck through the paparazzi, and they were taking
my gosh,
photos
yeah.
of these people or this couple, and I didn't even know what was going on. And then this guy snuck in because I don't think you're supposed to do that. Paparazzi can't come into churches, but
No.
because we're in the tents, you guys, it was
those
like
paparazzi, they
it
know
was
better.
free for all.
I'm like looking at the camera.
So, but literally, there
Yeah.
was a girl, bless
They're
her heart.
ruthless.
They are ruthless. Like this guy like snuck into our church services, and he's taking all these photos. And then there was this girl that like was in, I think she was on her staff. And she's like, I looked so bad in those photos.
The truth
It
comes
was like-
out.
it was the
It's just like,
worst.
wait,
It's
what?
horrible.
I look like I was 300 pounds in this photo, but anyway,
They don't care about angles. They are
no.
not doing
Yeah.
anyone
Yes.
any.
It's a real wake-up call
Yes.
to how you look, on a daily. It's like, oh, this is not good. I don't mean like I've been in a bunch of shots. I'm just saying it's like
Yes.
you just have a lot of empathy when you
Yeah.
think it
Yes.
through. I am grateful.
And it gives you a
Yes.
bigger heart for them, like
Yeah.
what you were
Truly.
saying, as we
Oh.
should. Shouldn't
That's right.
Christians be the ones who have the greatest heart for these people? Aren't we called to seek and save the lost? I mean, it's Jesus that does it, but we're called to help, and I love what
Understanding
you're
and
saying. Be a
empathy.
friend. Imagine
Come
just
on.
being someone's friend and being a safe place. And that's what I feel like the years being with you guys, that was how we always started. This is a safe place.
Yep. Yeah.
You're coming. I can almost,
hope,
I
unless
can,
the paparazzi
I can
were-
almost recite it.
Yeah.
We'd get up there. One of us would get it. This is a safe place. We're not going to take photos. If you see something, like, just come on. This is a safe place.
Wow. Wow.
What does that feel like? Can you imagine
Wow.
if we all had a safe place? And I know we do, but I think that's what we're called to as, followers of
great.
Jesus. Like, let's be a safe place, or curate or create a safe place
Yep.
for the people. And they don't have to be an influencer. They don't have to be a famous person. Like, you could create a safe place for the people that God's put in your world,
Come on.
your neighbors,
Come
like
on.
coworkers.
Good.
What are they called? Who are schoolmates? What do we call those people? What are they?
Classmates?
I
Yeah,
was
not
like,
a problem. I'll be
schoolmates?
here. Not a problem. I'm here
Were
for
you
you.
from the
I'm sorry.
UK? I don't know. Is that
Classmates?
what they say?
I think all right. Well, not a problem. We forgot about classmates.
Schoolmates.
You guys.
No, desk mates. All right.
Literally, it wasn't coming. Those people, those
Yeah.
sweet people
Yes.
in
Yeah.
your school
Checkmate.
class.
Yeah.
But yes, like, let's be safe places for them. That derailed.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Well, I'm just thankful that you and Chelsea have created that safe place
Thank you.
for people.
Yes.
And so thank you guys for doing that in LA and I mean all over
and
with-
beyond.
and
Yeah.
beyond. And so thank
Oh,
you for creating that space. So
Thank
I
you.
wanted to transition to this question
Yeah.
as we close here is what kind of legacy do you hope your voice leaves behind?
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Well, I mean this in all sincerity, and I'm not trying to be cheeky or sneaky, but yeah, I think the legacy thing has gotten way out of control. I think when you're dead, you don't care, but you know what I mean? Let's shoot it straight. But he's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So the text informs me that God likes to work generationally. And so I think I obviously, knowing you, Shell, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. But I do think, for what it's worth, this idea of like, we'll be dead before we know it, and all this we'll realize isn't home. Yeah. But so I think of what do I want my kids to remember when I'm gone that would help them. Yeah,
so good.
My dad's gone, and I think about things about him that help me. Yeah, and because I think a few generations removed, most of us maybe won't be remembered. I don't know. I really hope so, but probably not. Yeah. I obviously hope that I'm remembered like Tiger Woods or something like that. I've really been working on my game, but
oh my gosh,
I really, really, really want to be one of those guys. I wouldn't want anyone to say it like this, but I want my kids to feel like my dad built bridges with people. He was just one of those guys. He saw a gap. Well, I don't belong there. These aren't my people. I feel uncomfortable. And he would build a bridge.
That's good.
And they could walk over it and feel loved and feel seen and feel invited and feel welcomed. I think the older I get, I just really, the 2 times Jesus kind of clears the temple court and says, please don't make this a buy and sell transaction. I want people to come freely, a house of prayer, which we're like, it's a prayer movement. Well, it just means that people can freely talk to God. Yeah. And I love that. I benefit from that. It motivates me every day. And so I think I have to mind my P's and Q's.
It's P's and Q's.
P's and Q's.
Good thing I'm here.
All right, classmate. You're such a classmate to me and a deskmate. Checkmate. But I think I have to mind myself because I can get really reactive and defensive when people start saying there's certain people you can't build bridges to.
That's good. Wow.
And that's what provokes me. That's when you'll see a side of me that really is ugly. And I end up burning bridges with people who won't let me build bridges. That's like, oh, wait a minute. That's self-defeatism. So I don't want to do that either. And I think there's a big weakness in me that like the moment someone tells me those are untouchables, those are unlovables, those are unapproachables, I'm like, you are, because you said they are. Yeah. So that doesn't work. And I don't like that spirit at all. And I think, one of my heroes, Dr. King, hate can't drive out hate.
Yeah.
Only love can do that. So I want to be the person that not only people think about that way, but feel that. Yeah. Like, bro, why do I feel like you're one of, I am you and you are me. Yeah. And ultimately, perhaps that will be a big part of the future of this country and other countries when we start to realize that we're all God's children.
Yeah.
And we have one Father, and we're actually, I am you and you are me. And, now it sounds like I'm writing a song.
Yeah, it did.
All right.
That was brilliant.
Relax,
I love that. You're speaking in rhyme.
Oh, it's good. And it's recorded, so
I know.
We could copyright that thing.
Where is
and get
Lionel Richie? We are the world.
Oh my gosh.
We are the children.
Well, last question,
Yes.
Judah. If you could speak to the version of yourself that struggled the most internally, what would you say?
Oh, buddy, relax.
Relax.
Oh, buddy, relax. Like it's okay. You're never gonna get over this. I think I'd tell him that. Hey, this is just gonna be a part of something you're gonna have to trust God with. I think I feel like that emotional state that Paul felt. Like, hey God, will you take this negative, weak, thorn in the flesh thing away? And he's like, nah. And you're like, I'm sorry, what? I thought you were going to say for sure, buddy. Yeah. He's like, no, because it's in that place I'll meet you most. And when you're weak, you'll be strong. And so I thought the Delta was supposed to be covered and closed. And now I realize the Delta is the highway that God meets me on most.
Yeah.
And it's the place where I see him. It's the place where I need him the most. Yeah. And it's weird. He just keeps showing up there and makes up the difference, makes up the Delta. So,
Wow.
So good.
That's
and then
really
I would
good.
tell my buddy that,
My buddy.
hey, you married right. She's going to look gorgeous in her 40s.
Oh,
You're
yes.
going to love her. And then I'd say, buddy, don't worry about it. You're going to get really good at golf.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
I just love that it's buddy.
It's funny.
But it is, you know what I mean?
know.
Like, I look at all of our photos as kids. I'm
I
like,
know, buddy.
Your Declan just walked
I
in.
know.
the room.
That's what we
People,
call
this is
him.
my-
That's why we call him
Yeah.
buddy.
I called him Upper Deck. Where'd that come from?
Upper
You know?
Deck, that is
Upper
so
Deck.
cute.
And he's like, he's kind of moving like this. You know?
Yeah.
He's so cute.
So sweet.
I can't. I want to be a grandparent more than life itself.
You're going to be
Cute.
such a good
Yeah.
grandpa.
I
You're going to
cannot
be.
wait.
That's awesome.
Literally can't
Judah,
wait.
we love you
I love
so
you, ladies.
much.
Thank you
Like,
so much for
Thanks.
coming on
We've
the
learned
show.
so much
Thanks for
from
having
you,
me.
not just today, but always.
Same.
And
Yes.
I think I can speak for both of us. We are so proud to be your
Yes.
cousin. It's such an
Thank
honor, and we love you, and we're always
love
like,
you.
we got your back, you know?
Yeah.
And I really mean this with all my heart. There are a lot of great churches, and then there are those churches that the only explanation for what's happening is a sovereign act of God.
Yeah.
And Ocean Church started baptizing a few people, then they started baptizing Southern California, baptized America, now
It's
they're baptizing
the
the
world.
world. But I really mean that. The growth, the expansion,
Yeah.
the influence,
They're
the
incredible.
impact is so supernatural.
Thank you,
And it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I love the Franceys, and I love Ocean Church, and I hope everybody comes to conference
Yeah,
and sees it
great.
for themselves.
love
And I really want to see your new building.
I know, seriously,
gotta
you're
see
going to
it.
love it so much. It's
So
so
excited.
cool. So, Judah, would you mind, maybe someone listening today, if you could just, I love to close out the show, if you could pray for somebody that maybe listeners feel distant from God today. Could you pray for those people today?
So good.
God, thank you that you granted us not only permission, but invitation to talk to you at a moment's notice. Like, here we are. We know we have audience with you. The way's been cleared. The path's been cleared. And you're listening. That alone is overwhelming to consider. And thank you. We can talk to you about everything, anything, anywhere, anytime. It's amazing. And so particularly we put in front of you, which is already right in front of you and center of your heart, people that feel like they are so far from you. I'm asking that you would show them that actually nothing could be further from the truth. They are, they're as close to you as their next breath. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. You are at arm's length, if not closer. Show them that you're there. Show them that you're near. Show them that you are in love with them and you are proud of them and you want to walk with them. For many of us, it is that pain point, whether it's an addiction, whether it's something in secret, whether it's something embarrassing, something in our past, something we can't shake or get rid of. We ask, God, that you would meet us there, all of us, not just the friends we're praying for, but all of us. Meet us in our delta. Meet us in our weak place. We thank you for that. Thank you for your grace. And thank you for my cousins. And thank you that I'm their favorite. Amen.
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 So good. Well, we love you so much. And thank you
Love
for
you.
coming on the
Love
show. We're
you.
going to have like the whole fam come one day.
Yeah,
on the
Yes.
let's
show.
do one with you and
Yes.
Chelsea.
Wait, what if like we did all the Smith kids and the Francey
all.
kids and we just did a whole like
Yes.
family reunion show?
Let's do it.
I love it.
Let's do
You
it.
mean like our kids?
Yeah, Declan and like
Oh.
and then
Oh,
and
yeah.
the girls
He
and
probably
like
won't
Zion
talk.
and Elliot
Yeah,
and
Declan would be
Kenzie
like-
and Gracie.
and Uncle Kenny will be like, "That's me."
So
Oh,
cute.
man.
We love you.
Love
Thank
you
you for coming on the
guys.
show.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Collective Talk Season 5. Stay tuned for future episodes as we dive into the topics of prayer, family, and ministry.